Well, it's been a little while since I was able to work on this. I had to get some parts to finish this machine. And I'm sure you'll recognize this here. Done a few videos on this already. I had a rep from Dodge bearings. Gearboxes come on out, help me figure out what size pulleys and shaft and everything I need to make this thing work. So today I'm going to work on the motor. I'm putting the shaft up there. There's some bearings that are missing up top there. You see where the holes are for them. And we'll be making a shaft for that. And hopefully we can get her geared right and make her work. So I'm going to show you what all I've got to do here. You can follow along. So I managed to get some of these Dodge bearings. It's a two-piece design just like the original. You can see that here. Get it all up in there, get you in focus. So I can uncap this and get these pillow blocks bolted up. So be just like the original. I guess they developed these back in 1905, so I was really excited to find out I could still get these. The only problem is they're green, so I'm going to paint these probably red because they just don't go with my paint scheme. So I'll get shooting that, show you the end result. I'm letting the paint dry and then I'll wipe the grease out of the center so I can get the paint off of that and get those mounted. The next one I'm going to paint is this motor. Decided to buy a 1-horse motor. It's probably overkill. I'm just taking a wild guess, but shouldn't have any problems and be underpowered. So you can see I put one of the new shivs on there. What I'm going for is about 70 RPM. And I watched another video of only one other machine I've ever seen. It's chain driven. I found on YouTube, and it seemed to be running about 70 RPM. So that's what I'm going for. Trying all that. So got me a Baldor Reliance motor here. The only problem is, again, it's the wrong color. Gold looks nice, but that's not going to go with this red and black scheme. So I think I'm going to paint the motor red also. And I also have this shiv here. That'll be the big one here. The motor will run this shiv right here. And I got another smaller one for the other side. That'll kind of go up against this one here. So that should get me the 70 RPM. I'm hoping. If that don't work, I guess I'll just have to buy a different size shiv. So be interesting to see how that all works out. So I guess now I'll get this one painted. That, so ended up keying the shaft here, getting both ends about where I need to have it. There's going to be one of the shivs going to go right here to power that shiv right there. So now we got that all figured out. Now I'll get all the shivs all mounted up. See if I can't get the belts hung there. Finish mocking this all up. And go from there. So it's coming along. Now that I got that portion all done, time to clean up the last of the parts. The safety shields that go over it so nobody sticks their hands in it. And looks like I got a lot of cleaning to do on it. I get that part all done up. That'll be the front cover. I have the rear cover. Nice mesh that goes on that. A few pieces of wood stuck in the cage here that I'm gonna have to clean out. And the very back has the chute, and that'll get mounted on the back of this. You throw all your material up on that, and then you can just drag it forward as you're making it. So I'll show you that a little bit later in the picture. You'll be able to see that later segment, probably when it's about done. You'll see it all assembled, and then we'll see if we can't make a block on this machine. Another plate I want to put in the machine, and I'll do a video on that, show you what I've done to that before we make block. And we'll get cleaning, see what we can do with this. I think I'm going to paint that red in the back and maybe black in the front. So I got the front cover on there, progressing along very well. And the motor I got, I didn't notice when I got her all painted up, but it turned out to be a 224/43 phase. That's not going to work in my shop. So it's going to turn out to be a fan motor, and I ended up scoring this 3/4 course, explosion proof out of an old fuel pump. I think that's going to work just fine for me. So you can see I got the shiv mounted right there, got the shaft bearings, everything all up in there. It's looking pretty good. I have powered it up. Wheels on the bus do go round and round, so I'm excited to see what happens when I go to try to make some. That's coming at a later date. And I'm still working here on this guard here in the back. Some crack welds. It's all cracked up there. And we'll just get a little bit of that welded up. Got her all bent back into shape so she can go on there well. So we'll get that all painted up. And I'll certainly show you what the end result is on that. And continue on. Alright, now we got the red done on the back also. So that looks pretty good. Turn out red, black. Get an overall view of that. It's a little bright out there, so I don't want to overexpose today, but you can see how that's all nice and red and keep you from getting your hands in there. Now we'll move on to the next step. Welcome back to Eclipse Machine Part 5. It's been a busy summer and I haven't been able to work on the machine much, but I did get quite a bit done, so I want to show you what I've been up to. In previous videos you've seen it come with a smooth plate for the face. Well, we can make a lot of smooth block in a day on a modern day machine, so I figured I'd put a rock face plate in it. So I managed to find a casting place in Toledo, which is very hard to try to find, somebody who can do cast iron yet. I took a face plate down and had them make me some plate for that Eclipse machine. So a lot of these plates, as you can see, this one here will make a half block and 2/4. This one here fits into the Knox block machine. It'll also fit into the Sears Wizard machine. Same with this one here. This is to make a half and smooth, so if you're tying into a wall, you still have your smooth plate. But it has different ears, and that's where you lock in your little side plates on a Knox or a Wizard machine. And my Montgomery Ward and Triumph take this particular plate, and this is another half and double quarter plate. You can see it's got these ears and tabs on it. So I figured this would be a good one to see if I couldn't have a plate made off of that. And I use the full-size plate. This is just the half plate. Show you how it all works, but typically they get a little smooth on that. And I had some rough castings made, so when I got it back, I'll show you what that looked like. And I also needed to add, I was going to braze on a piece on the end, but they were actually able to make a piece that come off the end of that I could chop and make all my little grooves and everything, and get it to fit into the Eclipse machine. So pretty excited I get to make rock face block in the Eclipse machine. I'll show you the rough casting. So my casting guy, Clinton, was able to cast me another plate out of the Triumph machine or Montgomery Ward machine. And you can see the ears that are on this one. I don't need the ears for this other machine, so I'll probably end up cutting that all off. I did get 3 inches added onto the end. I'm gonna have to notch this all around, put a couple notches in the center here. And you can see how rough that is. Well, the face looks the same. So we're gonna have to go through and machine that, or not really machine it, but I'm gonna have to try to grind that out. There's a whole lot of texture in there, so that's gonna take a little bit. We're gonna meticulously try to grind that all out and get that polished up pretty good. That way cement won't stick to it, so when I go to tip it and pull the face away, the face is not gonna stay on the plate. So that's gonna have to be shined up. Get this portion all shined up. And this plate here is a little bit thicker. Turned out to be about 5/8. And the one on the Eclipse machine runs about 7/16. So I'm gonna have to mill the bottom off of this plate and get that all smooth and get her all notched and grooved out. And we'll get that all ready to go fit inside the Eclipse machine. Okay, so here's the original plate you see me fix up and get all smoothed down. It's a great plate. I'm certainly going to hang on to it. But mounted in the machine, you can see here, the bottom of this was all cast. This is all 846 cast also.
and they have the ears. So what I'm gonna have to do is mill the bottom of the other one, get this all in here to get that same 7/16 thickness that plate was, and so it'll set right down inside the machine, mount up just like this plate does. So I said, great plate, but let's try to make rock face, because that's what's so fun about these old machines. And I'll show you how we turn. All right, so after doing some grinding and polishing, I used a Dremel tool with a little stone tool. I chopped the ears off the bottom, that way it don't get in the way. I got pin stops in the machine that I got to set for height, and I don't want those in the way. So I chopped those off the bottom of the plate, and I sat for quite a while with a little grinding tool. I really tried to grind the cavities all out and get it pretty smooth. If I have any more issues, I'll polish it up a little bit more, maybe use a little bit smaller stone. But she turned out pretty good. Now from there, we're gonna get her here on the mill, which you clearly see sitting on, and we're gonna grind that bottom off and get that notched out. And then I gotta cut some slots in here, and then I'll probably take a grinder and grind it out so it's more like the original plate, fits right down inside there. So took quite a bit when they do the casting. It shrinks a little bit, so we had to add some on, and taking that Dremel, I had to bring the edges out. Tried to get the same window pattern around that all the rock face block are known for, and really shined up pretty good. But it definitely took me quite a few hours and quite a few little grinding stones. I kept running the hardware store out of grinding stones, so but it was a lot of fun. Just a lot of meticulous work, and really had to pay attention to what you were doing. But I think that's going to turn out. So I'll show you what it looks like after we get her all milled down on the bottom and get it notched out, and it's certainly coming along. So now you can see we got her all machined down. Paint a little bit of paint on there since it's cast iron. You know how it rusts up pretty quick. So I got the thickness down. A bit thinner now. Everything's all notched out and slotted out. It'll all fit right under the machine now. Right down in here. So you can do this one-handed. Put your hands all down in there. This will flip right on up. Slide right down in the machine. See if I can get a pallet in there. Lock the handles, and your pallet will go down. So that's how she's going to work down in there. All nice and shiny. We should be able to make a nice rock face block with that.